Clive Barker is one of the current generation's leading horror writers. He is acclaimed for his incredible ability to conjure up his thoughts into writings that can derive emotions from their reader like no one else. Barker's most notable and widely known work comes as a series of 6 fiction anthologies known as Books of Blood. This had 6 volumes, and in the first volume, the second story is named The Midnight Meat Train. Barker published these anthologies in 1984 and 1985, while the Hollywood movie adaptation of the novel came way further in the year 2008. The story is argued to be one of his greatest works. The movie adaptation, however, takes the story one step further and expands on it in several ways. They do that by adding elements that are exclusive to the movie. Are you confused because you are missing context? Do not worry, as we will now go over the story of The Midnight Meat Train, the movie, before we start talking about a potential sequel. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. A brief recap of The Midnight Meat Train 2008. The movie follows the story of Leon Kaufman, an investigative journalist trying to make a name for himself. He faces failures and cannot catch his big break. Determined to prove his critics wrong, he ventures out in New York's subway and saves a woman from being sexually assaulted. The next day, he realizes that the woman has gone missing. Curious, he investigates the disappearances and suspects Mahogany, the butcher. After being shunned by the police, Leon decides to board the train himself. After a brief scuffle with the butcher, Leon loses his consciousness. Later, his girlfriend Maya gets concerned about his obsession and starts her own investigation. Through Leon's notes, she is able to infiltrate the butcher's house and gather concrete evidence. She is also disregarded by the police, who make her board the train. Realizing that Maya is also in danger, Leon fights the butcher and becomes triumphant. As the train reaches its destination, the conductor reveals to them the purpose of the abandoned station. Monstrous creatures then feed off of the corpses in the train. Later, the conductor kills Maya and rips out Leon's tongue, bestowing upon him the mantle of the new butcher. The movie ends with Leon, the new butcher, being handed the schedule of the killings by the detective. The terrifying underground creatures explored. The film is quite shocking, with so many revelations towards the end coming off as quite a surprise for the viewers. No horror movie is successful if it does not leave the viewer's mind completely baffled, inciting them to repeatedly think about the what-ifs. In this case, we wonder about the monsters that we see feeding off of the human corpses. Not much is known about the underground creatures, and it is neither explained nor explored in the movie, leaving a bunch of questions unanswered for the viewers. Luckily, there is some information we can explore in trying to understand the origins of the reptilian creatures that we see consuming the corpses presented to them by the butcher. It is explained in the short story written by Barker that the creatures are not just some species of reptiles living underground, rather, they are the original rulers of the city. These creatures are said to be the forefathers of humans. They have existed for centuries, even before the dawn of human civilization. This society of monstrous beings accepts the sacrifice of human beings in return for not raiding and killing off the humans of New York City. From a viewer's perspective, these creatures seem to be frail, weak, and dependent on the actions of the butcher. But it is heavily implied that if these human sacrifices are not delivered to them, they will start wreaking havoc all over the world, and humans will not be able to stop them. The whole ordeal is said to be allegorical on some level, as the underground dwellers are a society of the city's secret overlords who impose their will on the working class and feed off their sacrifices. It is also mentioned that these monsters do not crave human meat. Instead, they have to consume it for survival. Even with this given explanation, there are an awful lot of questions that are left unanswered, such as, if the creatures have been living far before humanity, what did they feed on previously? That leads us to think that these forefathers of humans were feeding off on other animals to fulfill their needs before humans came. If that is true, then these creatures can consume the meat of other animals and be satisfied with it. Then why does the government comply with providing them with human sacrifices? Their design choices and mannerisms make them seem less powerful than an average human. This can be an artistic choice, but we are inclined to believe that these creatures must be weak to the technological advancements that humans have made in the realm of weaponry over the course of so many years. What is stopping the government from planning a full-on invasion on these subterranean creatures? We understand that since this is within the realms of cosmic horror, these creatures must be imbued with insane amounts of power that we have just not witnessed yet. That alone is reason enough for this movie to gain a cult following over the years. The fans have been yearning for a sequel for 15 years, and their requests may be finally answered. The movie has done a great job of leaving the viewers wanting more. We would like to know more about Leon's character and what happens to him after he becomes the new Butcher. We would like to know more about the subterranean creatures that are assumed to be capable of ending humanity as we speak. Are humans doomed to start with because of the existence of such creatures? Or is there a solution to stop this evil? We can only hope that we get these answers in the possible sequel of this movie. What's the development around Midnight Meat Train 2? As we have just discussed, the 2008 movie adaptation of the short story has been very well made. The creators of the movie have ensured that they make the watch entertaining by making the initial story more grounded in reality and indulging. The film has not been left on a cliffhanger, but we have been left wanting more, as the story is quite intriguing and makes you wonder about a lot of tangents that are left unanswered. They have left enough room in the story to capitalize on it and create a sequel, starting right off from where the first movie ends. Although no definitive proof has surfaced about the development of a sequel to the movie, the director of the horror film Ryuhei Kitamura has talked about a possible sequel, spiking the interest of many. It was during an interview about his film, The Price We Pay, that the conversation drifted towards Clive Barker and Midnight Meat Train. It is here when Kitamura entertained the idea of a sequel and said, "That's pretty cool. I don't know, anything is possible in this world, so maybe someday." The sentence alone has all of the fans of the movie excited, as the director has shown interest in a possible sequel. Scriptwriter Jeff Bueller has also displayed his intrigue with the world of Midnight Meat Train. He mentioned in a conversation that he loves the world and that they have not really explored the idea of the subterranean creatures being the fathers of humanity. He further talks about the symbiotic relationship between the fathers and the humans of New York and states how they have not talked about the history of this society. The whole conversation implies that the world of Midnight Meat Train is yet to be fully explored and has a lot to offer. What could the story be like, and who could be ideal as the cast? The probable plot of the movie sequel could expand upon a bunch of things. Firstly, the major reveal that has left everyone wanting more is the fate of the character of Leon. Since he has now become the Butcher, has he lost all of the humane characteristics that the first movie had built up? He seemed quite shocked and horrified by the events that he witnessed, including the death of the love of his life. Leon seemed to take up his responsibilities as the new Butcher without any resistance, which begs the question, has he completely lost his former self and has been brainwashed to perform these tasks? Or do the markings on his chest mean something that we cannot yet fathom with the little information we have? Apart from this, we can hope that the sequel explores the existence of the subterranean monsters further. They have been termed the fathers of human civilization. Are they controlled by a higher being who possesses powers beyond belief? And is the notion that these creatures can be defeated completely wrong? We would like to gain such answers which can help us understand more about these monsters and their history. All of these, among a plethora of other open-ended questions, are what can make the sequel to Midnight Meat Train all the more interesting. Now, for every great story, there should be a group of insanely talented people who can portray the emotions of the writers perfectly. For that, we believe the following people would be perfect for casting of the sequel. Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper was an actor who was just starting out his career when Midnight Meat Train came out in 2008. Since then, he has made a big name for himself in Hollywood and has proved his ability to play a multitude of roles. He is the best possible cast for playing Leon for obvious reasons. It would be great to see a mature Leon still carrying out murders in the subway, and Bradley Cooper has proved that he can play an antagonistic part in a movie really well. Jenna Ortega. Jenna Ortega has taken the world of horror cinema by storm. She is a young and upcoming actor who has displayed her fantastic acting skills in various movies. Her work in the movie Scream 2022 is stellar, and she has gained a massive following after her work in the Netflix series Wednesday. She has even received the award for Most Frightened Performance at the MTV Movie Awards in 2022, which only certifies that she can be a perfect cast member for the sequel. We can see her playing the role of a supporting character where she assists in building up the stakes for the protagonist to gain traction. Mia Goth. Mia Goth has shown how fabulously she can maintain the balance between a sensible but vulnerable character and also a mind-bending, creepy character. Her performance in the horror film X is hypnotizing, and she has cemented herself as one of the better performers in the horror genre. She has blown everyone's minds with her performances, and we hope that she can continue to do so. Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang is no stranger to the world of horror movies. He has shown his capabilities in the movie Don't Breathe. But it is his performance in the movie Old Man that is so compelling that it would be an absolute delight to see him in a sinister role in Midnight Meat Train 2. His powerful delivery of monologues has left us awestruck, and he definitely has what it takes to be a showstopper performer for a sequel to a classic. J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons is subjectively one of the best actors Hollywood has to offer. If anyone has not watched his performance in the movie Whiplash, we highly recommend that you go and watch it and witness the greatness of Simmons. He captures the aesthetic, the body language, and the way of speaking of a man driven mad with his interests to a whole new level. He could be an overly enthusiastic character in one scene and an absolute demon on earth in the next. The levels of adjustment that this actor has shown are unparalleled, and it would be a wonder to see what he can do in the horror genre. Conclusion. In conclusion, as of now, we can only speculate about the development of a sequel to Midnight Meat Train. This movie was not critically acclaimed upon its launch, but has gained quite a following over the years. All of the fans of the film have been left wanting more, and even the people behind the movie have shown their interest in creating a sequel. Clive Barker's writing has stayed so evergreen, and even though he has written a full story, it is his masterful thinking that has allowed the story to be so much more than meets the eye. We can only hope that in the near future we can witness a new movie coming out, expanding upon the established world of Midnight Meat Train. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.